everyone, my name is Kaylin Otto and welcome to the Unruly Travel channel. My pronouns are they, them, and I share about vegan travel, budget travel, solo female travel, and queer travel. I recently got back from an amazing trip to the UK. I ended up going through England and Wales. I met up with my really good friend from Denmark, and we do have other videos together and a podcast episode together from when we went to Thailand, so I will definitely put the link for those in the show notes. But anyway, neither of us had spent a significant amount of time in the UK before, but we ended up spending about 2 weeks going through England and Wales with a rental car, sleeping in the rental car, and it was amazing. Seriously, this should be on your bucket list. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you how I got to the UK on a budget, how I stayed budget traveling once I was there, how I picked the best rental car that was reliable but also affordable, and tell you about some highlights that you definitely shouldn't miss if you're going to London, if you're going to England and Wales. I'm going to show you the inside of the car that we slept in for 2 weeks and what our setup was like. And then I'm going to reveal to you how you can do the same exact trip that we did. And the trip will be vegan friendly and queer friendly as well. Okay, so first I want to talk to you about how I got to the UK on a budget. And for this trip, I actually signed up for a credit card on another flight and I had 80,000 points, flight points with that, and I used those to go to England and come back. But usually I use a lot of different sites like Momondo or Just Fly to find really cheap flights. Google Flights has also been awesome. And I recently discovered a service called Point Me. Basically, you buy a $5 day pass, or you can, buy an annual subscription. You go on and they find you the best deals for your credit card points. It's like the Momondo or Just Fly, but for credit card points. If you already live in the UK and you want to do this trip and you're like, how can I get to London on a really small budget? Check out The Art of Unruly Travel on a Budget. That is my travel guide. I will put the link in the show description, and that talks about how to travel all around the US and other countries on an extremely small budget and all these alternative forms of travel that you can take besides just flying. So basically, when my friend and I arrived to London, we hadn't seen each other in years, so it was a really beautiful reunion. And I was so impressed by how much vegan food London had. Like, I knew it was very vegan friendly, but they had so many restaurants. So we spent our time in London eating our way through the city, going to drag shows, walking around the city, and going outside of the city to go to some other really cool places like Hackney, where we found zero waste shops, really plant-based friendly co-ops, used bookstores, vintage shops, basically just so many cool things. So my tip for you is, if you are going to London, it's really great to get a cheap Airbnb inside of the city because you're going to be gone most of the day anyway, and just sleeping there so that you can walk to places. And then when you can, take a day to go to Hackney, go outside of the city and explore all of the really cool things that they have to offer. Then it was time to leave London and start our journey, and let me tell you, I was really scared about driving on the opposite side of the road using a manual because I haven't driven one in 10 years. And I was also really worried about the steering wheel being on the opposite side of the car for me, and for good reason. We picked up our rental car in London through Auto Europe. I will put the link in the show notes for the exact car that we got, because it was really great for accommodating 2 people living in the car. You don't want something huge because the roads in Wales are very tiny, but you want something that 2 people could be comfortable in. Before we left, I had scoured a bunch of different rental car sites to find something affordable and reliable, and after hours of searching, this is what I came upon, so I'll definitely recommend them to you. And if you do decide to book through them, please use my affiliate link. I actually reached out to them for an affiliate link because I was so happy with what we got. So anyway, we picked up our rental car in London, which was pretty terrifying for all of those reasons that I listed before. It was extremely difficult to learn how to drive in a whole different way, and so I have linked a few tips for you for if you're driving in a country where everything is opposite to you, because it takes a while to get used to. When it came to renting cars, I saw that the automatics were more expensive, and that's why I went with a manual. And another tip, if you're trying to save money, The rental car places will offer you insurance on the vehicle, but if you have a travel credit card that offers vehicle insurance, I would call them, speak to a real person, ask them what you need to do to make sure you get legit insurance for your car. Then when you book your rental, you deny the company's insurance. You pay for the rental car with your credit card, and your credit card will provide auto insurance for you. Big tip, don't forget to do that, because we would not have been able to afford our rental car if we would have went with the company's insurance that they offered. So we picked up our car and we went south down to Brighton, which was an incredibly queer and vegan friendly space as well. I mean, beautiful sunsets at the beach. And then from there, we kind of just went where the wind took us. My favorite things that we did on this trip were seeing some incredible landscapes that I was not expecting, especially in Wales. Taking castle tours because you really felt like you were transported back to a different time. Surfing in Wales, I learned that there were no sharks to be afraid of there. The waves were perfect for beginners, and we found a company that was really easy to accommodate us on our fluid schedule. We were pretty active during this trip. We did some running, some surfing, definitely some hiking, and we did some rock climbing as well. During our time, we wanted to see some really epic natural features, so we visited waterfalls in Wales, drove along the coastline, which I will never forget, and we hit up as many national parks as possible. And even though they are very different from the ones in the US, if you're expecting to go to a national park in the UK and it to look like it does here, you're going to be surprised, my friend. They were really beautiful. We loved seeing the huge trees, going on hikes, and seeing all of the beautiful forests and lakes. If you want to know exactly where we went and exactly what we did every single day, I have exciting news for you. I made a travel guide that takes you through this trip, starts you in London, goes through England and Wales, hits every single spot that we hit that was worth putting on there. All the restaurants that we went to are on there, all of the national parks. Basically, if you follow this guide, you are sure to have an amazing trip, you know, going to drag shows and waterfalls and hiking and surfing and going to really vibrant cities and old-timey feel cities. And it's all laid out for you. Basically, I'm your travel guide, but I'm not there with you, so you can edit the schedule and change it as you would like. So link in the show notes for that 2-week complete travel guide. So I want to tell you what a general day looked like for us. I did some research to see if you could just park wherever you wanted in England and Wales, and I didn't come up with anything that said it was illegal, but we all are privileged in different ways, so please do your own research before going and parking wherever you want. But basically, that's what we did. It was really fun waking up to a new adventure every day. So we would wake up, lapse our sleeping pads, change our clothes, brush our teeth, and if there was a climbing gym near, we would go there for a workout and a shower, and if there wasn't, we would take a really cold naked dip in the ocean. And after we were all packed up, we would head out for our day's adventure, and I already told you what that probably looked like. And then when the day came to an end, we would look on the map and look for a cemetery or a church or a park or a residential neighborhood and find a place to park right outside of people's houses. So this meant for dinner we had a lot of, camp style picnics on the sidewalk, and we never got in trouble. No one gave us any trouble for parking outside their houses, and I did feel really safe the whole time. So overall, we just had this beautiful, amazing experience that I will never forget, and I want you to be able to go on that same journey and do that same trip. Okay, so let's talk about money. A lot of people talk about how expensive Europe is, and compared to a lot of other destinations, it is very expensive. But it can be done, and it can be done on a budget. One thing that really surprised me about the UK is that while restaurants were close to the prices in the US, or maybe even a little bit higher in big cities, the groceries were a lot cheaper. And they had so many options at the supermarket for vegans, for plant-based eating, like so many plant-based cheeses and meats and pre-made meals. It was a dream. Oh, if you want to do the UK on a budget, if you want to do England and Wales on a budget, and everyone talks about England, but Wales I thought was way more beautiful, be sure to follow the tips that I gave you. We saved definitely over $1,000, if not more, per person by sleeping in our rental car, because instead of paying for hostels or hotels or Airbnbs, we didn't have to pay for somewhere to sleep at night, and our transportation and accommodation fee were combined into one. If you're like, that sounds awesome, but I can't afford the rental car, I can't afford the restaurants, I am on an extremely small budget, okay. If that's you, please check out The Art of Unruly Travel on a Budget. You can get the printed copy or the ebook. They're always on a sliding scale on my website, and if you can't afford them, email me and I will hook you up. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will be making more, so please drop any comments that you have about traveling through England and Wales below. Don't forget to check out all the links in the show notes. They will save you a lot of money and time. And if you're going to travel to the UK, be sure to get my vegan-friendly and queer-friendly 2-week complete road trip guide. I promise you that you will not be disappointed. Alright, thanks for watching. See you next time.